So in this segment, we're going to be talking about a temporary extension of lorry drivers' working hours being met with backlash. So in case anyone didn't know, the Right Dishonourable Grant Shapps saying that we are aware of a shortage of heavy goods drivers, so I'm announcing a temporary extension of driving hours rules from Monday the 12th of July, giving flexibilities to drivers and operators to make slightly longer journeys. We've ramped up the numbers of driving tests available and will consider other measures. So what he's saying is, lorry drivers may have to do more hours and take less breaks, and that's incredibly dangerous. The amount of damage that some of these lorry drivers could do if they get into an accident is crazy. These are called heavy goods vehicles for a reason. They're heavy as hell. They crash into anything, you're going flying. You might as well get punched by the Hulk at that point. So a temporary extension of lorry drivers' working hours has been met with backlash. HGV drivers can increase their daily driving limits from 9 to 10 hours or change weekly rest patterns on Monday. The thing is, right, some of these drivers may change willingly. They might accept more hours because maybe they'll get paid more. But the thing is, sometimes people need to be held back from their kind of worst kind of feelings. There are rules in place for a reason. We have speed limits for a reason. Just like we have these rules for a reason, which is to stop drivers doing excessive hours, whether that's because of their employer or whether because they think they can do these hours safely when sometimes that's not the case. So Shapps said the move would give flexibility to drivers to make slightly longer trips. It's a bad idea. The Road Haulage Association said the move wouldn't make any difference. The RHA believe there's a current shortfall of about 30,000 drivers. From what I've read, it's 100,000, depending on who you listen to, but that's like sticking a plaster on. If a few drivers, say a few thousand lorry drivers, make a few more trips and take less breaks, it's not going to solve the problems we're having. It estimates that some 30,000 driving tests did not take place last year because of the pandemic, and we are going into potentially another lockdown within a few months anyways because of this goddamn government. But you can see that there is a massive shortage of drivers. Numbers differ depending on who you ask, but it's between 60,000 and 100,000 depending on the person being cited. The National Officer for Road Transport at Unite, the union, Adrian Jones, also said the announcement would do nothing to resolve the problem. Unite will be advising its members not to place themselves in danger. If they are too tired to drive safely, they have a legal right to refuse to do so. And you've got to think some of these haulage companies are under immense pressure from multiple different companies in order to get access to their drivers and their lorries. There's a massive driver shortage throughout the country, and the simple fact is these companies we've offered a lot of money to take on some of these jobs that maybe they can't do because they don't have the drivers, but if the drivers put in a few more hours each week, they might be able to do one or two more jobs and therefore make a lot more money. And that's kind of the issue that's going to come about this, where firms are offered a lot more money and drivers are offered more money, but these people are humans, they're not robots. They can't make certain trips. They can't do too many hours. That's the point. And the government doing this is incredibly stupid. And if it does lead to more accidents, that's going to cause you way more problems when it comes to, just ordinary people living life, potentially being killed because of drivers who have done too many hours. Not to mention the fact that if you're doing this to improve transport of goods between, warehouses and shops or, ports and shops and whatever, if there's an accident, a major accident on one of these roads, that's it, that's locked off. That means all those people have to go around, which makes it even longer to get the goods from point A to point B. So once again, the government doing this is just so stupid. Unite will fully support those who make that decision legally and industrially. So, they've got the backing of the union, which typically workers have anyways. Logistics UK, which represents freight businesses, said longer hours would heap more pressure on drivers who are already stretched to the limit to deliver. There's a massive driver shortage. These people are being pushed quite hard because targets have to be met. James Firth of Logistics UK said the industry vehemently opposed the extension and said the government had ignored the will of those who will be most affected by the changes, the drivers. Not to mention the fact that if the UK wanted to resolve the issues, they would be trying to get EU drivers back in the country by lowering the visa requirements, maybe helping companies pay for visas, because we desperately need these people across multiple industries. We need EU staff to come into the country. To help us, because we don't have the numbers here, we don't have the expertise here, and that's what really irritates me. These issues could be resolved, but the UK is choosing the dumb option. That's going to push food prices up. So businesses and union officials have warned that the driver shortage jeopardizes deliveries to supermarkets and other sectors of the economy, which causes shortages, which causes prices to go up. The haulage industry is one of a number of sectors finding trouble finding suitable staff as the economy reopens, leading some experts to talk about the UK's missing workers. That's, in hospitality, in agriculture, and in haulage. They're the main industries that I think that have been affected. Also, meat production as well. That's another one. Among those worried is German confectionery giant Haribo, who says that it's struggling to deliver its sweets to shops in the UK. So they can get the sweets into UK ports or from Germany to the UK, but they can't get the sweets from the UK to British shops. They're struggling to do that. So it's not a problem within the EU. It's not a problem on the German side. It's a problem with the UK. Schaap said the government had ramped up the number of driving tests available and will consider other measures. The thing is, if you do more tests, that will help, but you need a level of experience, especially if you're doing long, longer drives. Not to mention the fact that a lot of these people will fail these tests. This is not the end all and be all. You need people to come in from foreign countries to do these jobs. You need EU staff to come in. The government said driver safety would not be compromised. Well, that's not what the experts are saying. And operators must notify the Department of Transport if the relaxation is used. What are you going to do? Are you going to be like, nah, bro, you can't do that. That's too many hours. Like, what? Why would the Department for Trade care? It's just stupid. Loading more hours onto drivers that are already exhausted is not the answer. The problem needs more than just a sticking plaster. Who's saying this? One second. The RHA's chief, Richard Bernard. Ministers should be mindful that road safety is the reason HGV drivers' hours are limited. Because if they cause an accident, people will die. That's the thing the government aren't forgetting here. If one of these heavy goods vehicles gets into an accident, the car, probably the first 2 or 3 cars, gonna get crushed. If these lorries are moving at speed, smashed. On the lorry, you're gonna have a massive pile up because you guys decided you want to increase hours for these drivers. It's just so dumb. What the government here are just doing is so irresponsible, but that shouldn't surprise you from a government who are the kings of irresponsibility. Most of the solutions, however, are likely to be driven by industry with the progress. Sorry, a government spokesperson saying already, the government has already taken action on HGV driver shortages, including ramping up tests, blah, blah, blah. Most of the solutions, however, are likely to be driven by industry. Bruv, unless you change the visa requirements, that's not going to happen. The industry are doing more tests and trying to increase the wages of drivers. But the simple fact is they still don't have enough. It's up to the government to help resolve these things. Throwing this at private industry doesn't work. It doesn't work. A spokesperson going on to say, progress is being made in testing and hiring, and a big push towards improving pay, working conditions, and diversity. These are things the industry can do, but there is a limit. Even if you increase the salaries of drivers, that you're going to have to start charging companies more, which pushes the price up of goods and food. But not to mention the fact that there is still a bottleneck. There's still not enough drivers. And so it doesn't matter even if you increase their wages dramatically, you still have a shortage. The only way to resolve that is by allowing European drivers back into the country without going through all the visa hurdles and all this stuff. But you're not going to do that because you're a bunch of dogmatic idiots who have no idea what you're doing. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is very dangerous. But yeah, we'll see if accidents start ramping up because of what the government's done. I don't even want to say I told you so at that point, because people will be dead in accidents that they shouldn't have had to die in. Anyways, I want to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe on Patreon if you can. Support the channel. If not, I'll see you in the next one.